This is KGW News at Sunrise.
He decided his money was more important than the life of my daughter Carissa and my grandson William.
3 years after Carissa Fretwell and her 3-year-old son were murdered by the boy's father, her family received some closure. In just a minute, we'll hear more from Carissa's parents after their daughter and grandson's killer was sentenced to life in prison. Plus,
we're mainly working to improve habitat conditions for salmon, steelhead, cutthroat trout, and Pacific lamprey that live in these streams.
Using old logs to spur new life. Coming up this morning, see what Metro is doing to protect and restore local fish habitats. And we are live at the Street of Dreams. It's back for the first time ever. The event is in Yamhill County. Bryant Clerkley is there for us inside this 6,700 square foot Napa Valley inspired home. More on how you can get tickets and tour all these homes coming up here in about 15 minutes.
you know, I had a bad dream last night that my alarm went off at 2 o'clock for work this morning, and then I realized, oh, that's just my reality.
Real.
5 days ago. It is a Thursday morning here on the Sunrise Show. Rod Hill off this week, so I appreciate the fact that he's probably sleeping in, but Chris McGinnis
hopefully he
is ready to go.
Or he might be dreaming about golf too. Yeah, okay, let's get you out the door right now and give you this beautiful, oh my goodness, beautiful live look from our Wells Fargo sky camera. Of course, sun up, still a good 40 minutes away or so. Also, you can see a little bit of cloud cover starting to creep into the picture here. That will probably become a little more widespread over the next couple of hours. It's 62 last check at PDX. Elsewhere across the region, we're 59 in Hillsborough. Tigard waking up to 63. We'll slip south into the Willamette Valley. Salem has cooled off a couple more degrees from last hour, now down to 57. The plan for today, little cloud cover this morning. We go partly cloudy and then mostly sunny this afternoon, and something a lot of us will probably appreciate, taking the edge off the heat just a little bit. I've got us at 86 today. Cooler tomorrow, guys. More on that and your weekend forecast in just a bit.
All right, Chris, we will check back with you in just a moment, but we do want to get to our top story this half hour. Michael Wolff, the man convicted of killing his 3-year-old son and the boy's mother, Carissa Fretwell, back in 2019, was sentenced to life in prison yesterday by a Yamhill County judge. KGW's Alma McCarty spoke to Carissa's parents at their home yesterday after the sentencing.
Inside Nyla and Kirk Bale's McMinnville home, there are signs of Carissa Fretwell and her son, Billy, everywhere.
She loved that little guy more than anything.
Pictures and videos remind them of a happier time.
When we had the little guy, we had him quite a bit, and I would just say he ran the house.
Yes, you were. Where'd you get the hat?
He's such a funny boy.
I mean, I can say I got 25 years with her. I got 3 years with the little guy that I wouldn't have had it all if they weren't here. You know, those are things I get to keep, memories I get to keep. It's the future ones that I don't get to keep.
Carissa and Billy were last seen on May 13th, 2019. Not long after they were reported missing, the boy's father, Michael Wolff, was arrested and charged with their murders. Carissa had just taken him to court to prove he was Billy's father, and he was ordered to pay child support.
Even without bodies, they felt they had enough evidence to convict him. I think it's still, until they found him, it was just a really numb feeling.
Then, in June 2019, investigators located their bodies in a heavily wooded area. Carissa had been shot in the head. Billy's death was also ruled a homicide.
We're here this morning for sentencing.
3 years later, after pleading guilty to aggravated murder, Wolff was given a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 30 years.
He decided his money was more important than the life of my daughter Carissa and my grandson William.
Nyla and Kirk, along with Carissa's sister Katrina, spoke in court before the sentence was handed down by the judge.
I hope you are reminded daily of why you are in there, and every time you close your eyes, you see their faces, and it haunts you the way your selfish decisions haunt us.
Wednesday afternoon, the couple reflected on the sentencing.
Closes the chapter, and we're able to move forward, and it's been a long 3 years.
He ruined our daughter and grandson's life, and I refuse to let him ruin mine.
In Yamhill County, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Other headlines we're tracking this morning. A grand jury found Mackenzie Lewis guilty of felony riot charges. He's one of 3 people accused of turning this brawl with Antifa activists into a riot back in May of 2019. This happened outside the former pub, Cider Riot. On Tuesday, a judge dismissed charges against Joey Gibson and Russell Schultz. All 3 men are affiliated with Patriot Prayer, a right-wing group based in Vancouver. Tonight, the University of Oregon will celebrate the life of a young football player who died last week. 22-year-old Spencer Webb played tight end for the Ducks. He was with friends at Triangle Lake in Lane County when he fell and hit his head on the rocks. Webb was originally from Sacramento and was about to start his 5th year at U of O. His memorial service will be at Autzen Stadium at 6 o'clock this evening, and the public is invited to attend. The city of Portland is investigating what caused 2 sewage overflows yesterday. The first happened on North Tomahawk Drive in the Jansen Beach Center right next to Target. The second happened in front of Adventist Health near Southeast Market and I-205. City crews say sewage overflows are often preventable. Common causes include pipes becoming clogged with tree roots, debris, or grease. And those are some of your Thursday morning headlines. Well, this week, logs and trees were airlifted and dropped into creeks in Oregon City. Scientists say it'll protect and restore fish habitats there. Photojournalist Ken McCormick shows us.
So this is an exciting day for Metro. This is an opportunity for us to protect our native species of fish and help restore habitat for our wildlife and to be able to improve our natural watershed. I'm Hannah Erickson, Communications Specialist with Metro.
So today we're placing large wood in Newell and Abernathy Creeks with a helicopter. We're mainly working to improve habitat conditions for salmon, steelhead, cutthroat trout, and Pacific lamprey that live in these streams. Yeah, so today's work is all about restoring fish and wildlife habitat and protecting water quality in Newell and Abernathy Creeks here in Oregon City. I'm Brian Vaughn. I work in the Parks and Nature Department at Metro. We're aiming to deliver about 200 logs. There's 36 log jams being constructed. Yeah, so our salmon, steelhead, cutthroat trout, and Pacific lamprey need a little help. We're addressing those limiting factors and creating conditions where those fish can thrive. Essentially, they need clear, cool water to survive.
A log jam is a safe place for fish when they're small to be able to rest and access shade and be able to thrive and get strong before they go on to the next part of their journey. So this is our way of creating those so that our fish have a good, healthy place to live.
All right, before we get to today's local forecast with Chris McGinnis, take a look at this video from yesterday in Washington County. So that right there is a dust devil whipping up near Quail Valley Golf Course in Banks. Shout out to a guy named Greg Godowski who posted this video on Twitter. So Chris McGinnis again filling in for Rob this week. Chris,
that's cool.
This dust devil had some staying power.
Yeah, it did. I mean, they're usually pretty short-lived. They're caused by differential heating, and they usually happen in open fields where you get 10 degrees warmer here versus there, and the air rising. You get warmer air kind of spiraling upwards, and that's what happens. It picks up dust, and there you go. They can do damage in some cases, the strongest ones, but they're usually pretty short-lived, and that was a cool video, though.
Yeah, it was, absolutely.
Cool.
Again, at a Quail Valley golf course. I don't know what course you played on yesterday, but you played in that hot weather.
Yeah, it was hot. Yeah, and it got very still, too, which made it feel even hotter. Usually there's a breeze. There was no breeze yesterday. The breeze will pick up later today, especially through the Columbia River Gorge, and I'll show you that in just a second. The other thing I wanted to show you, and it's not the easiest thing to see at the moment because it's still pretty dark, but I think if you look really closely on our Newport camera here, you'll probably be able to see some of the cloud cover that has worked its way up along the Pacific coast this morning. And in fact, some of that's trying to now fill into the northern Willamette Valley as seen here on our Wells Fargo sky camera. 62 last check at PDX. Futurecast does a nice job of picking up the cloud cover. You see the green blobs on there, maybe even a little drizzle or some mist at the Oregon coast this morning. The marine air is filling in through the gaps in the coast range and coming up through the mouth of the Columbia. So the little bit of cloud cover that we see in the sky over Portland this morning, that will probably even fill in a little bit more over the next couple of hours, and then it'll retreat this afternoon, and we'll have a really nice finish to the day. But breezy through the gorge, and also for folks across central and eastern Oregon, it's going to be a very breezy afternoon to go along with the hot temps that you folks are still going to have to endure for one more day. Tomorrow, fast forwarding to Friday morning, the marine layer, that push of cooler air is going to work its way in a little faster. It'll be a little deeper, and so I think that Friday is one of those days where we're socked in with clouds for most of the morning, and then we eventually see some sunshine in the afternoon, and with that will come a really nice finish here to our work week. We may not get out of the 70s tomorrow, so pretty pleasant. All right, daytime highs at the beach today. After the brief morning or the thick morning cloud cover burns off at the beach, you'll be in the mid-60s. I mentioned windy conditions. Check this out. Through the Columbia River Gorge, west winds ratcheting up 25 to 35 miles an hour. Pretty gusty later this afternoon across central and eastern Oregon as well. You've got one more day of high heat, and then we're going to back down the heat in that part of the state for the weekend, as we will here in the Willamette Valley. 79 tomorrow, and then we warm it up a little bit Saturday, Sunday, and because I have to do it, I'm going to step out of the way, increasing confidence in several hot days, guys, even beyond the range of our 70 forecast. It looks like next week is going to be a hot one.
Yeah, you gave us a warning. I'm not going to complain too much. Thank you, Chris.